All right, Nick. The Kansas City Chiefs are a special team. It's a team that is able to really overcome anything we see. And we've always targeted this as riding on the back of, or arm rather, of Patrick Mahomes and the brains of Andy Reid. But there's an article came out recently saying that the success of this team and Patrick Mahomes specifically is linked to another man. Don't you think?
Yeah, Zach Wasink over at the Yardbarker had an interesting piece talking about Mahomes' rookie year. The former starting quarterback of the Kansas City Chiefs, none other than Alex Smith. Wasink writes, shortly after quarterback Alex Smith retired from playing in the spring of 2021, the Kansas City Chiefs head coach Andy Reid remarked he loved to have Smith on his staff. The two, of course, are no strangers to each other, as Smith spent 5 seasons playing under Reid in Kansas City. Smith was also serving as Kansas City's QB1 when the club selected Patrick Mahomes in the first round of the 2017 NFL Draft. Andy Reid told Alex Smith, quote, "I told Alex, man, go out there and have the greatest year you've ever had. You don't have to teach Pat. We're here to do that as coaches. You're out there to go produce and win games and do the best you possibly can for a team." So that's the way we approached it with him. Now, Alex, by nature, though, was the greatest thing that ever happened to Patrick Mahomes. This is Andy Reid talking. There are different ways to do things, whether you play the player right now or behind a veteran player. Alex was perfect for that. Alex did let Patrick into his world without being forced on it or anything, and he let Patrick in it. Patrick handled it the right way and didn't step in the way of Alex and what he needed to produce and had respect for him. So it worked out perfect. So this is in the wake of the Ryan Tannehill, Malik Willis drama of Tannehill coming out saying he won't mentor Malik Willis. How about this story? You talk about a high character guy. We talk about him all the time. Comeback player of the year after coming back from his surgery. Alex Smith. Andy Reid credits Alex Smith for Patrick Mahomes becoming the player that he is today. What a story.
Yeah. Alex Smith is quite possibly one of my favorite NFL quarterbacks just because of his the content of his character. It's a guy who, when with the 49ers, gracefully left that team when he was pressured out by Colin Kaepernick, came over, got to the Chiefs, then Mahomes came. He mentored Mahomes, it seems, turned Mahomes into this elite quarterback with a little bit of guidance, gave him the tips and tricks he needed to know. He moved on from the Chiefs, moved over to the Redskins, Commanders, whatever you want to call it, Washington football team. I don't remember what it was called at the time, but he goes there, gets injured, one of the most gruesome leg injuries we've ever seen, comes back from that, as you said, comeback player of the year, only to get passed over by a couple other guys. But I'm sure in that quarterback room with Dwayne Haskins, Taylor Heineke, all those guys, and rest in peace, Dwayne Haskins, but Taylor Heineke, all those guys, he was probably the greatest mentor to all of them, being there, being able to tell them, like, hey, this is what we need to do. He just seems like a really great coach coming up. He the next best coach.
Well, and I think when I look at what happened with Pat Mahomes in Kansas City, I kind of compare it to what's happening with Kyler Murray in the Arizona Cardinals in that whole situation. So the similarities between Murray and Pat Mahomes are kind of eerie. Both were obviously first-round picks. Both have a lot of physical talents. Both have been coached by Cliff Kingsbury. Pat Mahomes obviously was coached by Kingsbury at Texas Tech when Mahomes was there, and obviously Kingsbury is now Kyler Murray's head coach. Look at the difference of adding a guy like Alex Smith into the equation does. You bring in Pat Mahomes with Alex Smith in Kansas City and that great culture, to the credit of Andy Reid and the Hunt family for having that great environment. Pat Mahomes is allowed to blossom and become arguably the best quarterback in the NFL today. Instead, you have Arizona, doesn't have that culture. They don't have an Alex Smith. So what do you have? You have strife. You have Kyler Murray complaining. You have the management complaining to Kyler Murray. Cliff Kingsbury can't manage either side of it. They're having to make bad trades or having to let guys go. It's just a really tumultuous environment, despite Murray having a lot of talent. You get none of that with Mahomes and the Chiefs. And I think a lot of it can be credited to Andy Reid and the Chiefs culture, but you got to put a lot of that credit to Alex Smith for getting Mahomes started off right in the beginning of his career.
Yeah, he's a great guy, great player. And like we've been saying the whole time, you can tell there's very minute details. In the NFL, all these guys are elite athletes, and it just takes a little bit to put them over the edge. So I think Alex Smith is one of those guys. If you can get him on your team, you get a young rookie quarterback, he's going to be the best backup to have in there because he can give them, he's that guy. He has the it factor when it comes to being a motivator, to becoming coach, to becoming a mentor. He is the guy that you want to look to.